First, it was the hydropower dam, and now it is the two counties which China claims.
Huge questions that you put to me. Difficult to answer in a short time, but let me try. Brahmaputra first. China clearly, as an upper riparian, even though it does pay lip service to the interest of the lower riparians and keeps on saying this thing, we know that, in fact, not just for the India, but even in the case of other countries, and the example comes to my mind about Mekong River, where again Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, they're the lower riparians, and under the Mekong Regional Commission, Mekong, there is MRC, they are supposed to have a board which is going to basically take into account the concerns of the lower riparians. But I know, and I was there at that time in Laos, when the floods took place, and basically the floods took place because suddenly China decided to release a huge amount of water from into the Mekong River from Brahmaputra. By the way, Mekong and Ganga are both tributaries of Mekong, the river, Brahmaputra River in China. Now, therefore, while I'm not quite certain, and I'm in fact quite confident that for China, really, when their energy needs come, they're not going to be troubled about the concerns of India and Bangladesh as the lower riparians, the water flows during the scarcity time. No, they will not be. But of course, they will pay a lip service to this. The fact is, whether there is anything that India can do about it, and there is practically nothing at the moment that we can enforce on China, because there is no commission, there is no international body which can actually enforce its will on China in terms of managing the Brahmaputra water. That is what I want to say. And therefore,
Right.
unless we find a mechanism, we have to live with it.
Okay.
Do you want me to go to Aksai Chin now or later?
Right. I wanted to start with Aksai Chin. Let me quickly get in Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni as well. Let's talk about the latest issue of contention for India. The two new counties formed by China in Aksai Chin. It looked like, the relationship between India and China was thawing as far as the border boundary disputes are concerned, the line of actual control is concerned. But it looks like it's getting raked up again.
Thank you very much. You heard Ambassador Goel, and the right word he used is lip service. Chinese will only pay lip service. There's nothing much can be done about it. Chinese are in occupation of the 38,000 square kilometers of the illegal territory of Aksai Chin, the Hotan Prefecture, of which these are two counties, Heian and Hotan. These are the two counties which have been created, obviously, over illegally occupied Indian land. Now, Chinese the Chinese believe in one policy we must remember, that the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without a fight. They haven't settled their boundary disputes with only two countries. Their borders with 14, that is Bhutan and India. And they will never ever settle the boundary dispute. These pinpricks will continue just to ensure that their trade, that is what their focus and concentration is on, that the trade must go on. And even if it means going up to $200 billion, they will not. That is what they're looking at. And these pinpricks will continue to remind India that, look, this is where we are. We are the center of the universe. It is you who have to agree to what we are trying to tell you. And irrespective, even if you go closer to any country, it is we who matter. And they'll continue to pinprick this. And in that context, imagine we had the National Security Advisor go and meet Panga, and having met their foreign minister after 5 years of the tension that you know of, the border tensions that are going on, no sooner as he returned back to India, you find that they have declared these two counties. Besides, of course, the two counties, you know the number of villages, the kind of vibrant villages, and almost 600 plus villages, where you find the dual purpose villages. They have everything from infrastructure to the huts that they've been constructed, to the kind of communication towers that they have, the water supply, the power, anything and anything over there. What does this indicate? That they are trying to legitimize their illegal occupation of the Aksai Chin and the territory that they want. And this is exactly what the Chinese will continue to do.
Right.
Let's not forget, this is what China is wanting to pinprick, put pressure, and they are known for acupressure, and this is what they will continue to do. And I agree with Ambassador when he says China only pays lip service. They will finally do what they want to do. Yeah.
They will finally do what they want to do. Ambassador Suresh Goel, we just had a thawing of relations. The military stand-up between India and China that erupted in Galwan in 2020 just saw a thaw in October 2024 with both the nations agreeing for a patrolling along the border in Ladakh. And here again, the next big bone of contention is erupting right there in Ladakh.
I think essentially we must think of what is happening between India and China as a pendulum. If we go to the extremes, we will continue to basically have these kind of pinpricks and the differences. The issue really is, how are we going to manage our relationship with China? The fact remains that China is a strong neighbor across our northern borders. China is trying to gain influence in our neighborhood, both in the Indian Ocean, in the South China Sea, Pacific. And China is, I don't think we should say China is out to contain India, but China does look India as an adversary. And as an adversary, when we get closer to the Western powers, India becomes a kind of even more adversarial. And therefore, we have to learn how to manage the relationship, the differences, because the fact is that China needs India as much for the trade as we need China. The essential issue is, really speaking, just manage the relationship till we can become comparable in the CNP with China, which will take quite a few decades to come.
Decades to come. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, talk to us in terms of these two issues erupting one after the other. Do you think that this threatens to peg the India-China relationship back by a few steps after the progress that was made in 2024?
You know, what happens is, imagine at the very start of the year, what does this indicate? They want to, at one point of time, they'll say, yeah, de-escalation is going on, you know, de-induction we'll see later, and all these kind of things, talks will be on. There'll be no denying the fact. It'll be like one step forward, two steps forward, one step backward, two steps forward, one step backward. They'll keep doing this. It's primarily to keep the pressure on, to tell. They have realized that the most sensitive thing that bothers India is the boundary issue. Every time India is concerned is about the boundary issue. They aren't, because they are in occupation of it. What are they interested in? They are interested in trade. And therefore, put the pressure here, continue with the trade, and as like what the ambassador said, it is indeed challenging. We have to manage, and that management is what is important. And therefore, it is very important for us that we soon, at least what he's talking about, the CNP, the comprehensive national power, that is what is important. We have to get onto an economic spread. The moment we touch about $10 trillion of our economy, we'll get militarily strong, we'll get technologically strong, and then the diplomatic teeth will be there and will be counted diplomatically. That at that point of time, like he rightly said, is going to take decades. So till then, China will do what it is doing. They'll continue to pressurize India. We have to continue to manage. We have to ensure that nothing is lost. We have to be able to deter the Chinese move. And that deterrence is only our economic strength, our military strength, our technological strength, our diplomatic, how we count in the world over. All that matters to China. And China will ensure that they are the center of the universe. India is a satellite. That is what China looks at it. They want to see themselves as the center of the universe. Everybody else is a satellite. The moment we grow, they understand that India is a power to reckon with. And therefore, before they decide to be a strong power, let's keep pressurizing them. Let us see what we can do. Now you can see what they're doing in Pakistan. You can see what they're doing in Bangladesh, what they're doing in Myanmar, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Maldives, everywhere. So that's the policy of China. But we have to manage, and the ambassador is absolutely right. There's nothing much that we can do other than manage our relations, ensure that no point of time we are found wanting, and this is very important for us. 24/7 surveillance is a must. We cannot trust China, and we have to ensure that at no point of time we are found wanting or be caught with our pants down.
Right. One last word in from you quickly, Ambassador Suresh Goel. The border dispute is one issue where India has to keep up the pressure and not relent. But the fact of the matter is that China is going to go ahead and build the dam, and that to an ecologically fragile zone on earthquake-prone land.
You're absolutely right. But when they build a dam on a technologically sensitive area, they should know that any kind of a spillover or anything, or if there is, God forbid, if there is a disturbance or the slide of the area, it is going to impact on China as well as on India. The fact is that in an effort to advance further for their energy needs, whether they have taken that into computation or not is a different matter altogether. We have to live with a kind of a situation where a country across our northern borders takes a decisions on the basis of what they think is right, whether it is right or not is a different matter. That's all I can say. But we have to basically protect our own interests, see how we can do it. That's all we can do at the moment, really.